I'm glad my mom died. Seriously. This is the title of a book written by Jennette McCurdy, a Nickelodeon child star exposing the systemic abuse, eating disorders, and narcissistic control she endured under her mother. Her mother pushed her into acting at age 6, controlled what she ate, managed her image, and when a producer told her mother that Jennette needed to dress more provocatively to make it in the industry, her mother said yes. Today, on Mother's Day, I want to talk about the difference between a mother who plants a dream in you and a mother who takes ownership of it. Say me. Welcome back to Say Impossible, the podcast. I am Angela Bendeck, and this week we are doing something a little different, a special episode for Mother's Day. We are going to look at two very different stories of mothers and her daughters. One is a cautionary tale, the other one is mine. And somewhere in the contrast between these two stories, there's a blueprint for any parent raising a child with a spark of talent and wondering, how far do I push? When do I protect? And how do I make sure my love doesn't become a cage? Let's start with Jennette McCurdy. If you watched Nickelodeon as a kid, you know her face. iCarly, Sam and Cat, she was everywhere, beloved by millions, but completely miserable. In her memoirs, McCurdy describes a childhood that was never really hers. Her mother, Deborah, had her own failed acting dreams, and she transferred every single one of them onto her daughter. And from age 6, Janet was going to auditions, not because she wanted to, but because her mother needed her to. And here's the part that Ken Robinson, the education scholar who wrote The Element, would recognize immediately. Robinson says that being in your element, that place where you fully come alive, requires two things: aptitude and passion. Janet had the aptitude. She was good. She was actually really good. But the passion was never hers, it was her mother's. And that gap between what we are capable of and what we actually want, that gap is where damage lives. McCurdy writes that she had no identity of her own, that her mother's happiness had always come at the cost of her own. And when Janet, at just 6 years old, tried to tell her mother she didn't want to act anymore, her mother broke down in screaming and tears. That reaction taught Janet something she carried for years: that her own feelings, her own needs, her own voice were not safe to express. That's not a mother raising a dreamer. That's a mother raising a mirror. So here's what makes McCurdy's story so hard to read and so important for parents everywhere. Because Deborah McCurdy wasn't a cartoon villain. She wasn't twirling a mustache. She believed she was giving her daughter the world. And that's exactly where well meaning parents can cross a line without ever seeing it. Robinson points out that children are not psychologically equipped to handle adult pressure. And McCurdy confirms this. She says she was not developed enough as a child to separate professional rejection from her own self worth. Every no at an audition became, I am not enough. Every callback missed became, I failed my mother. And we do this without meaning to. We see our child light up on a stage and we think, this is it. This is their gift. I have to give them every opportunity. And then we start scheduling, coaching, enrolling, competing. And somewhere along the way, the thing that made them light up starts to feel like a job. The symptoms are subtle at first. The child who used to sing in the kitchen stops humming, and the child who drew on every surface stops reaching for the crayons. They still perform because they love us, but they've quietly stopped loving it. McCurdy's eating disorder started at age 11 when her mother put her on calorie restrictions to keep her looking young for casting agents. And by the time her mother died, Jennette was using bulimia as a coping mechanism because it gave her the only sense of control she had. That's the extreme end. But the root starts somewhere much smaller. It starts with a parent who confuses their own joy at watching their child perform with the child's joy of performing. We're going to come back with the other side of the story, the blueprint for getting it right. But first, a quick word from today's sponsor. Before we get to the part where I tell you about my mom and a manager who did not walk away with his dignity intact, let me ask you something. Do you have a mom who lives in her workout gear, who counts her steps, loves her yoga mat, and basically lives at the gym? This Mother's Day, give her something she'll actually use. Women's activewear designed to move with her from Inspire. And they have a special Mother's Day promotion running right now. Shop at weareinspired.shop and use code Mother's Day at checkout. And don't forget to follow them on social media. In my description below, you will find the links. Go get some nice gifts for your mother on Mother's Day because she deserves it. Welcome back to Mother's Day special episode. We were talking about the line between nurturing a child's talent and consuming it. And I promised you my story. I was 5 years old when my mom bought me a little wooden toy guitar from the market. It was small, it was probably not even in tune, and I used it to put on full shows for anyone who would watch, singing every song I'd heard on the radio, strumming the guitar like I knew what I was doing. And as I was growing my passion for music, she then hired a singing coach and then a guitar teacher, someone who came to our home for private lessons. Later on, around age 14, I started to be part of singing competitions. My mom came to every rehearsal and every youth festival I competed in, every single one, even when she was tired and when she had work waiting for her. She was there, not managing my career, just witnessing my joy. And here's what I understood now at 52 that I couldn't understand then. Those were sacrifices, real ones, time she didn't have, energy she borrowed from somewhere else, and she made them quietly, without keeping score. I know this now because I am doing the same thing. Just a few days ago, I stayed up late helping my son record a piano audition. I had a video to edit, and I had work to do, but it didn't matter because I understood finally what my mother was doing all those years. She wasn't investing in a product. She was saying, I believe in you. I'm not going anywhere. Now, here's the part about the manager. When I started getting noticed, when I performed at Teleton for the first time, a theater director at my university approached my parents about becoming my manager. And well, my mother watched him, carefully. She evaluated every recommendation, every suggestion, every direction he tried to take me. And one day, he told my parents that if I was going to make it, I needed to start dressing more provocatively. My mother sent him away so fast and so completely that we never had a manager again. She took on the role herself, but not because she wanted the title. It was actually because she refused to let anyone put me in a position that compromised who I was. Robinson calls this being the unwavering advocate, the one person in the room whose only job is the child's well being, not the agent, not the manager, and not the label, the parent. And now let me tell you what this looked like in practice. Here are three things my mother did right and that any parent can do. Step one, follow the child's joy, not your own. My mother didn't push me toward music because she was a frustrated singer. She pushed me because she could see it was mine. If she had seen me pull away from it, I believe she would have let me. That safety, knowing I could stop, is part of what made me want to continue. Step two, build the skill. Don't build a career. There were no auditions for TV, no managers chasing contracts. The goal was discipline, development, craft, becoming good. The opportunities would follow, or they wouldn't. Either way, I would have something that was mine. And step three, protect the whole person. The manager's story is the clearest example I have. My mother understood intuitively that my talent could not be separated from my integrity, that if I made it by compromising who I was, I hadn't really made it at all. She drew that line without hesitation, and she drew it for me before I even knew I needed her to. Here's what I want us to sit with today. Jennette McCurdy's mother loved her. I believe that. And she destroyed her. Those two things can both be true at the same time. And that's what makes the story so worth paying attention to. The difference between a mother who plants a dream and a mother who takes ownership of it is not ambition. It's not even effort. The difference lays in this question: whose dream is it? My mother made sure the music was always mine. She gave me the tools. She showed up. She protected me. And then, crucially, she stepped back and let me be the one who loved it. I love you, Mom. Thank you for that. That is the gift, not the stage, not the career, the freedom to love something without fear. So here's the challenge for this week. And this one is for the parents listening. Think of one area where your child has shown a spark: music, sports, art, writing, anything. And ask yourself honestly, am I nurturing their joy or am I managing their potential? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, that's not a reason to feel guilty. That's information. Use it. Have one conversation this week where you ask your child what they love about it, not what they are good at, what they love, and then just listen. If this episode made you think of your own mother or the kind of parent you want to be, send me a DM on Instagram at Angela Bendeck and tell me one thing your mother did that you still carry with you. And again, if this episode moved you, share it. Send it to one mom or one parent, one person who needed to hear this today. That one share is how this conversation grows beyond the room. And if you're not subscribed yet, now is the good time. New episodes of Say I Am Possible, the podcast, are dropping every week. Happy Mother's Day to every mother who showed up tired and stayed anyway. We see you.
Say, 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 say.